City of Stevens Point Board of Water and Sewerage Commissioners meeting, recorded May 12, 2025.
Here, real quick. There we go. I'm gonna record.
So the first order of business after the roll call is approval of last month's minutes. Any changes or corrections?
Recording in progress.
Have none. To approve is in order. Move to approve.
I'll second.
Those in favor, signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Approval of claims for the water department we'll do first. Questions?
I don't.
No, I have none. Okay,
So
if
can I
there's,
ask, or leave it for director's report on fluoride, the whole controversy?
I can cover that in director's report.
Okay.
Sure.
all right, let's go on to sewage department claims. Questions there?
Mm-mm.
Have none. Order to approve, oh, no, we don't, we do this all at one time, that's right, yep. Stormwater. And then finally, the fiber.
No.
All right. Now a motion to approve all four sets of claims is in order.
Move approval.
I'll second. All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pull same sign, motion carried. Water supply and distribution, Eric?
Good afternoon. April was a pretty wet month, and also the mill was offline for a couple of days, so that's why the usage is probably down from last year.
Hmm.
Other than pumpage, tonight we start our annual hydrant flushing. So tonight through Thursday night, all of the crew looking to flush all the hydrants, including all the private ones. Hear anything? That's our guys. And then next week we have our annual leak detection service comes in and listens to all of our hydrants after that to see if any are leaking or to pinpoint leaks for the system. So kind of a busy distribution end the next week or two, but hopefully you won't blow up any mains or Shane's guys to repair.
Let's hope not.
Besides pumpage or flushing, any questions for me?
Approximately how long does the flushing take?
Each night, just over 8 hours. Tonight will be the longest, right around 9.
But how many days?
Oh, four nights.
Four.
Yep, they do about
All right,
1,500 hydrants.
all right, thank you. Chris, on to sewage treatment?
All right, the wastewater plant met all of our permit requirements for the month of, what's that, April. Overall, everything's running fairly well. You can see on, our influent for our sewage flows, they're up quite a bit. I mean, we're normally at like 2.3 to 2.5 million gallons a day. We're up around 3. Like Eric said, we've gotten a lot of rain, definitely noticeable. The pumping end as well as the wastewater end. Other than that, we did have our once every 3-year DNR inspection for the wastewater facility. We had a very good inspection. We're within compliance. There's only one thing we have to look at, and that is our called a CMON document. So it's basically a collection systems maintenance document. We have to look at that and add in our overflow emergency response plan. So basically, if we have a sanitary sewer overflow, we have to have a written plan. We have the plan, it's just not written down, it's not in that document. So we need to condense it, put it in that document. So that was the only deficiency that they found. That's a pretty easy one.
Sounds like a great report, good job.
I did have a question on effluent discharge
Yep.
report. April 23rd. Here's that, like in the raw pounds of suspended solids per day, there's, big jump for one of the readings. Is there just a
Talking
tie-in?
raw pounds.
You know, it's like,
Yep. We take in a lot of trucked in wastes, and that was one we couldn't exactly pinpoint. But I believe it has something to do with either a load of leachate that we took in or a load of septage that we took in that was very high in solids, and that ended up
went through,
testing, and
Yeah,
enough of it got caught in the sampler to make a very big difference in the sample.
yeah, it didn't affect operation numbers.
You can see a little increase, but
Yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
affect it greatly.
Yeah, it wasn't proportional, didn't seem to be proportional.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. All right, then we'll go on to the construction and maintenance report. Shane?
Sure. I really don't have anything to add to the report itself. I would like to add some commentary on, I made note of some high impact, water main breaks. Unfortunately, it's not very, it is not uncommon to have water leaks, but periodically we do have some high impact ones. Those were just, you know, on Church Street, which is a busy street. So it impacted the public traffic wise. We had to come up with traffic plans and stuff like that. So really the fact that they're so visible and impacted traffic is just why I made note of them. But so other than that, that's really all I have to add.
Were those breaks in the areas where we're gonna be redoing the utility, rebuilding the road?
Not for next year. I mean, it's certainly in the future, yes, but not in 2026.
Okay.
The question under the future construction and maintenance, we're extending fiber from our Portage County to Jordan Park.
Mhm.
Is that a contracted job, or is that, is that in-house, or how is that?
No, that one would certainly be contracted, probably go out for bid.
We have a number of things, like he's noting there.
Yeah.
George Park, Public Library, we have some other internal stuff that we're putting together for one big contract that will get let publicly. Yep.
That's just a direct bury, or is it with some type of orange tube?
Yeah, we'll generally directionally drill the interduct, 1.25 interduct. A lot of times we place 3 at a time in one path, and then fill one, have a couple spares. But those jobs are paid for by those requesting. So Portage County be paying for the one highlighted there.
Would that be run like an in and out for under the
Fiber utility.
fiber
Yep.
utility?
Yep. Yeah, so what we do is we're working right now on getting the path established to put on something of a plan sheet and putting our front end documents together with that, getting that out for public advertisement, and then a bid opening, and then award. Before we go to award, we make sure that the folks that are requesting the work are understanding the costs involved, and then we award it, do the work, bill them back. Similar to our school project several years ago now.
Does that have to go through the city, or do we just do that as a utility?
It's kind of both, right? So when we have stuff that just has utility components to it, we do a lot of coordinating with engineering, and they kind of, they're always involved in that. So we can advertise it, let it, award it. They're involved behind the scenes. In a case where it doesn't have things outside the utilities, it doesn't necessarily need to go to Public Works as well.
Okay.
But a lot of times the projects that involve both Public Works and utilities run through Public Works, and then council. Ours will go here, then council. Yeah.
So when it says they're running fiber to Jordan Park, to Jordan Park, is there an office there?
Mhm.
Is there
Yeah.
remote sensors on the dam?
Yeah, not for that. That's actually privately run. These lines you see here are actually our fiber. And so what we'd be doing is going from our well 11 property up the road to Jordan Park area and hitting a couple areas in that area. Let go. Parks, this is Parks, right?
Yep.
Nope.
The nature
That's,
center.
you're right.
It's a nature
They have
center.
a building to the south of the Jordan Road, Joel, too. Just to the west.
Yeah, but as far as where we're running fiber,
Right
we're
there.
going right here. This is their main parks office. And then probably making it possible for them to serve the park and their, this is that rentable thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
That pavilion.
billion. But the main point of interest for them right now is their staffed facility, which is up here, the parks office.
And then I think they had some long-term goals of possibly hitting the campground.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got a number of facilities there, really.
Yeah.
I think part of the logic is that they want to do it during the reconstruction of that road, right?
You know, it works out that way, but that really wasn't the plan. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, on to your report, Joel.
Yeah, I didn't have anything to add, but since it was brought up, the thing I can add to the discussion about fluoride is that our biggest thing right now is to wait and see. You know, fluoride is one of the only things that I can really identify that this body really has less to do with than the elected body of the city. We are not required to fluoridate our water. We do it as a community, and it's a community decision. So when people call and ask questions about it, I give them our history, and that history, really abbreviated, is that in the early 50s, we started fluoridating. Shortly thereafter, shortly thereafter we stopped because it was just done by a council action. They stopped by a referendum. And then in the mid to late 70s, we started again through council action, and we've been doing it ever since. So it's one of those things where as the regulations change to say, if you fluoridate, here's how you fluoridate, we will obviously follow those. In fact, it was back in about 2012-ish, maybe, or later, that they actually had us lower our residual level that we find in the system from 1 part per million to 0.7 parts per million. So they have made changes throughout the years based on, you know, research and just general knowledge. But if there were ever to be a, hey, should we be doing this type thing, from a utility operation, it's non-critical. It's really a community thing. And that's where that decision or that discussion will probably happen more at a meeting of the council or something like that, because there isn't a regulatory component to it other than how you do it, if you do it. Happy to have that conversation here if you guys ever want to, but I think there's a lot in the air right now where we've got a lot to watch and see, because we may very well get more regulation, and the discussion about it doesn't really pay until we know.
Right.
Yep, that's all I got.
And we do send in monthly samples to make sure that what we test here is what the state lab of hygiene says we have in our water for fluoride. And there is naturally occurring fluoride in all of our wells, so up to like 0.3 parts per million. So half of what we actually put in the water is added. So we do have naturally occurring fluoride no matter what we do.
Okay. Any other questions of Joel? If not, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Wait, didn't you want to say something about the June meeting?
Oh, I suppose while we're in these meetings, yeah, generally we don't have a June meeting, and I know the agenda shows it, so I thought we'd say during open session here that we will, if it's okay with you guys, not have a June meeting.
Okay.
Okay. All right, that's all, sorry.
Okay, now a motion to adjourn is in order.
I'll move to adjourn.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye. Aye. Both same sign, motion carried.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.